What's happening, everybody? Long time no see. I wanted to go over a couple of guns today, but in regards to a discussion that I've kind of been having with a few folks over the last several weeks, the debate has become about the perfect PDW and what would need or what constitutes the perfect PDW, what would be needed in order to have every box checked that you need in order to have that perfect defense weapon, specifically for CQB and for urban environments and whatnot. So anyways, or even if you want to say like the perfect truck gun, right? So we're going to discuss a couple very, very good candidates here. So the Sig Rattler, this is the 5.56 variant, and the Q Honey Badger. So very different guns, but there's a lot of similarities too that we're going to talk about. This is the 300 Blackout variant. I used to have the 300 Blackout variant of the Rattler, but I'll tell you guys about why I went with 5.56 and how that plays into this whole argument. So let me start off by saying, let's just kind of get the Honey Badger out of the way. All right. The Honey Badger is a very, very nice PDW. It's a very nice weapon in general. So the 300 Blackout round, obviously very versatile. You've got the options of supersonic rounds. If you are looking to do any type of long distance shooting, and you can do subsonic rounds if you're looking to go suppressed, or if you want a heavier grain bullet with maybe some extra stopping power at really close ranges. Now, obviously, that in general, the 300 Blackout round in general gives you a lot of options that you normally would not have with the 5.56 round. But there's a disadvantage to the 300 Blackout round as well. And the disadvantage is that it's expensive. It's harder to find in bulk, especially. And depending on whether you are going to shoot subsonic or supersonic rounds, you have to do some tweaking to your gas system. Now, even though both of these guns have adjustable gas systems, the one that's on the Honey Badger is a little bit more cumbersome to adjust than the quick switch that's on the front of the Rattler. So here you have a gas block, and the gas block, you can see, is under the handguard. And I don't even know if you can see this or not, but, oh shit. It's a direct gas, right? And here's your little adjustment. I guess that's just a hex screw that you can adjust, and you have to fine tune it. So there's no quick, one or two settings that you can go from in order to adjust for harsh conditions or extra gas, basically when you need to really plow through some of the dirt and debris that could wind up in your chamber, or like a standard version. So basically on the Rattler you have two settings. You have standard and adverse, right? With the Honey Badger, you have to really fine tune it, and there'll probably be some trial and error before you can get it just right. But again, that's kind of where having a direct gas, I just don't trust them. I don't trust them long term to stay clean enough to be able to run without having to do some cleaning or some tweaking to the gas system. So if you were in a situation where you really need this thing for a PDW, and you don't know how many rounds you could potentially fire through it. But I mean, in reality, it would take probably a couple thousand rounds before, maybe 1,000 rounds, at least 1,000 rounds, until you'd have any predicament where you need to start thinking about cleaning this thing out. But then that's kind of the cool part about the Rattler, is that because it's a piston-driven system, it runs a lot cleaner. It runs with a little bit more recoil, right? And it's a heavier gun altogether. Actually, this thing weighs right around, I think, 7 pounds or so. It's pretty damn heavy for as small as it is. But again, the benefit there is that it's built like a tank. You could abuse it, not have to worry too much about breaking anything on this. And it'll run super clean for super long. So I absolutely adore the Honey Badger. I appreciate it. It's super light. It's super smooth in terms of its function. That Geisley trigger that's on it is superb. It's just an all-around badass platform. I'd never get rid of that thing. But I also couldn't rely on this thing, when it comes to my life or the life of my family. I'd rely on this thing. And I went with 5.56. I said that I had the 300 Blackout version. Got rid of that because I already had the Honey Badger in 300 Blackout, and I wanted this in 5.56. So the reason why I wanted this in 5.56 is because of something I already mentioned. I mentioned that it's harder to get the 300 Blackout rounds, if you're in a shit hits the fan scenario, or you need to resupply and restock ammo, borrow ammo from, a friend, a family member, or what have you, and you're going to need something that's pretty commonly found. Obviously, you're not going to have any trouble finding any 223 or 5.56 rounds, but you will have some trouble with 300 Blackout. The other thing is, obviously, I talked about it a little bit, but the piston system being a cleaner system, being one that's more reliable, these things will fire every single time, and they'll pretty much chew through any type of rounds you throw through it. It does not care. This SIG platform, the MCX, the MPX, the Virtus, the Rattler, the Canebrake, all of them are freaking just badass pieces of machinery. These things just run. They run. I have had no problems with. I had the Canebrake. I had the 300 Rattler. I haven't had a Virtus yet, but I've had this thing now, and all of them have been just freaking flawless, man. They are awesome, awesome guns, and like I said, you don't have to worry about reliability when it comes to these SIGs. So this new lineup of SIGs, big thumbs up. They are awesome. Let me flip this thing over, show you the little setup I got going on over here. So I've got this outfitted with a Romeo 3 that's sitting on the higher rise mount. And I've got some Magpul Pro canted sights here as backups. Got the Phase 5 hand stop. Kind of matches the shade of the Romeo 3 in that gunmetal-ish gray. One of the things that people are going to wonder about when it comes to this thing is going to be the versatility, or not the versatility, but the, what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to be the usefulness, I guess, of the 5.56 round when it comes to a barrel this short. This is a 5.5 inch barrel. So, how accurate this thing's going to be, is it going to be enough velocity to be able to actually make a difference, right? That's a big question. And to be very honest with you, I'm not going to start spouting off a bunch of numbers because I do not know. I know you're going to lose a lot of muzzle velocity. From what I've heard so far, you're looking at about 1,800 feet per second from the muzzle, which is not a lot considering that, if you have like a 16-inch barrel, you're looking at almost double that. So It's not a lot. You're losing a lot. But is that going to be effective out to distances at 100 yards, 200 yards, maybe 300 yards? Yeah, it should be. And if you're using good ammunition, it should be more than what you would need in those types of scenarios. I would much rather have this than 9mm subgun, right? So I also have a Zenith ZR5S, so basically the MP5, and I love the thing to death. It's a smooth shooting gun, but I would not want to rely on a 9mm subgun in a firefight. I'd much rather have this rifle caliber pistol variant. And, that's just me, but I would definitely think that the ballistics on this, maybe they're comparable to the ballistics of a 9, but you're able to hold, theoretically, you can throw like a 60-round drum on this thing. You can throw a 100-round drum on this thing. I've got a 40-round mag for the MP5 that is not very reliable. So, and it's from a reputable source too. So it's not something that you can have as much capacity with. And if the ballistics are going to be similar, like I said, I would rather take the rifle round. I think it's more versatile than the pistol caliber round of a 9mm or something that's the equivalent. So anyways, what I can tell you, fires like a champ. It's super accurate. And like I said, it's always been a reliable platform. These Rattlers, I cannot recommend them enough. They are truly one of the best modern weapon systems out there on the market today. I was not a big fan of Sig's lineup before these new MCXs started coming out. But I am so sold on them. Like I said, had the MPX, had the MCX Rattler 300, the 300 cane brake, and now this. All have been freaking awesome. Very well built, very just very robust, very reliable. They run clean. All of them run really clean, which is one thing that I really like. I hadn't cleaned any one of them, not even once. Whereas this thing, I clean it every single time I shoot it. It'll get dirty. So the last time that I shot it was roughly, 2 weeks ago. And I don't know if you could see that or not, but I literally shot 40 rounds through it. That's it. 40 rounds. It's not too bad. It's pretty clean, but you can still see some of the carbon that kind of made its way close to the handguard right there. So, I mean, it's just going to run pretty nasty over time. Whereas with these, you can potentially put 1,000 rounds through it before you even want to put a brush down the pipe. And even then you're going to be like, it wasn't really dirty. I could have gone another 1,000. Only thing I don't like about this thing are these stupid arm braces that pivot. I get why they did that. It's supposed to allow for more flexibility when you're using the brace around your wrists or around your arm, so that if your arm is kind of at an angle, this will turn with you, as opposed to the standard type of brace system. But it's just so annoying if you are looking to shoulder the thing. And yes, I guess the latest from the NFA is that you are able to shoulder it. That may change by the time you watch this video, so don't quote me on this, but it's right now, just post-Christmas 2019. And as it sits right now, you are able to shoulder these things. So anyways, don't like that. I'm probably going to have to change it for, Sig has one that has the same stock system, with the exception of the brace itself. They have something that's more like this. So that, in my opinion, is a much better brace system to have on this thing, because this is just so annoying when you take it out to the range. What else can I tell you? It's an awesome platform. Can't say enough good things about it. Trigger's great. It's a battle trigger. There's nothing really too crisp or clean about it, but it breaks pretty nice. It's pretty predictable, and it's a battle trigger. I mean, there's not really much to say about it. It's not like the Geisley that's on this thing. But again, I say, if you were going to look for a weapon that is going to be a PDW, you're not going to want a light trigger in it, because potentially it can go off pretty easily, and you can end up firing into something or someone, God forbid, that you didn't intend on hitting. So it's better to have that heavier battle trigger in a gun that you're going to be using for defense. And aside from that, they're just both badass. Very different, very unique in their own way. But if I were to recommend one as a range, just a range queen, right? You want to take it out. You want to get some real like, head turners. These two guns are head turners at the range. However, this one in particular is going to really get you a lot of attention when you take it out to the range. First time I took this thing out, I was getting people's jaws on the ground left and right, and I had to wipe all the drool off of it. But it's because you don't see these. They're very, very rare. Q is always sold out of these damn things. They go for like $2,500, so they're not cheap. But they are super, super unique, and the finish on them just kind of really looks nice. A lot of people try to replicate this look to an AR. It's virtually impossible, because there is no Cerakote that will match this. This is not a Cerakote. This is just a clear coat that's applied to the bare aluminum, which is why this is, I think, 7,000 series aluminum. This is 6,000 series aluminum. You could tell they're completely different shades, but that's because the aluminum itself in the raw has this honey type of color, and then this aluminum in the raw has more of that darker color. So anyways, it's super unique. It turns heads at the range for sure. So does this. Anytime somebody sees something this short that's being fired, and it's a rifle round, it's definitely unique. And these are not cheap either. These go for $2,300. So very, very similar in terms of price, but very different experiences. Very, very different things that they bring to the table. If you're looking for a 300 Blackout, I would probably recommend the Honey Badger over the Rattler in a 300 Blackout, simply because with the experience that you're going to have shooting a 300 Blackout round, it's so much smoother out of the Honey Badger than it is out of the Rattler. It just feels like a very smooth shooting rifle, and it's, as far as uniqueness and just its exclusivity, you're going to find it very hard to beat that. But if you're looking for a better PDW variant that is going to be something that you could practically use in a real world situation, if you're going to use it as a truck gun, or if you're going to use it in a personal defense for law enforcement, or if you have any type of personal security job or something like that, this is concealable. It is reliable. It uses a round that is very easy to find anywhere you go throughout the country and beyond, and the thing just will never ever fail you. So very, very awesome guns. And if you guys have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them for you. So until next time, guys, take care. Happy range time. Be safe.